What if a movement born from oppression became a global symbol of identity, resistance, and spirituality? What if a king crowned in Africa was believed to be the living God by people thousands of miles away? And how did reggae music carry a religious message from the ghettos of Jamaica to the entire world? Today, we uncover the origin, rise, and spread of Rastafarianism, a movement deeply rooted in biblical prophecy, African identity, colonial resistance, and spiritual awakening. This is not just history. This is a story of faith, struggle, and liberation. To understand Rastafarianism, you must begin with pain. In the 18th and 19th centuries, millions of Africans were forcibly taken to the Caribbean through the transatlantic slave trade. Jamaica became one of the epicenters of this suffering. Stripped of their land, culture, and identity, enslaved Africans clung to one thing: spiritual hope. The Bible became central to their worldview. But they didn't read it the same way European colonizers did. Where colonizers saw control, the oppressed saw deliverance. Verses like, "Princes shall come out of Egypt, Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto God." Psalm 68 verse 31. Became powerful symbols. Narrator. To them, Ethiopia was not just a country, it represented Africa as a whole, the promised land, the homeland, the place of redemption. And Babylon? Babylon became a symbol of oppression. Colonial systems, Western power, and injustice. Enter Marcus Mosiah Garvey, a Jamaican political leader, activist, and visionary. In the early 20th century, Garvey founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, and preached a radical message. Black pride. African unity. Economic independence. But one statement would echo through history. "Look to Africa, when a black king shall be crowned, for the day of deliverance is at hand." Whether Garvey said these exact words or not, the impact was undeniable. To many Jamaicans, this wasn't just a statement. It was prophecy. Then came the moment that would change everything. November 2, 1930. Rastafari Makonnen was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia. His new name? Haile Selassie I, meaning, Power of the Trinity. His titles were extraordinary. King of Kings. Lord of Lords. Conquering Lion of the Tribe of Judah. Narrator. For many in Jamaica, this wasn't coincidence. This was fulfillment. They connected Selassie's titles to biblical verses like King of Kings, and Lord of Lords. Revelation 19 verse 16. The Lion of the Tribe of Judah, Revelation 5 verse 5. To them, Haile Selassie was not just a king. He was Jah, God in the flesh. And thus, Rastafarianism was born. In 1930s Jamaica, a man named Leonard Howell emerged as one of the first preachers of this new belief. He taught that Haile Selassie was divine. Black people were the true Israelites. Africa was their rightful homeland. Western society, Babylon, was corrupt and oppressive. Howell's teachings were radical, and threatening to colonial authorities. Narrator. Rastafarians were persecuted, imprisoned, and marginalized. They were seen as rebels. Outcasts. But they didn't disappear. They grew. Rastafarianism is more than belief, it's a way of life. Core beliefs. Jah, God, is embodied in Haile Selassie I. Repatriation to Africa is a spiritual goal. Babylon represents oppression and corruption. Zion represents freedom and divine homeland. Cultural practices. Dreadlocks. Inspired by the Nazarite vow. They shall not shave their heads, Numbers 6:5. They symbolize strength, identity, and rebellion against conformity. Ital diet. Natural, clean eating, often vegetarian. Focused on purity. Ganja, marijuana. Used sacramentally to enhance meditation and spiritual connection. To Rastafarians, it is not merely recreational, but spiritual. Music and chanting. Especially Nyabingi drumming, used in worship and community gatherings. Then came the turning point. Music. Reggae became the vehicle that carried Rastafarian beliefs beyond Jamaica. And one man stood at the center. Bob Marley. Through songs like Redemption Song, Exodus, Get Up, Stand Up, Marley spread messages of freedom, resistance, faith, African identity. Suddenly, Rastafarianism was no longer local. It became global. Today, Rastafarianism has spread across Africa, the Caribbean, the United States, Europe. Ethiopia, especially Shashamane, became a symbolic home for repatriated Rastafarians. Narrator. Though still a minority religion, its cultural influence is massive. From music to fashion to language, Rastafarianism has shaped global culture in ways few movements ever have. Rastafarianism is not just a belief system, it is something that is lived every single day. It shapes how followers eat, speak, gather, worship, and even how they understand themselves in the world. 1. Reasoning sessions, spiritual sessions. One of the most important activities in Rastafarian life is something called reasoning. This is not a sermon, not a lecture, but a deep, open spiritual discussion. Rastafarians gather, often in small groups, to reflect on the Bible, life experiences, oppression and justice, the meaning of freedom and identity. Everyone contributes. Everyone listens. It is through reasoning that truth is explored, and spiritual awareness is deepened. 2. Nyabingi gatherings, worship and celebration. Then there are the Nyabingi gatherings, the heartbeat of Rastafarian worship. These are powerful spiritual events marked by drumming rhythms, chanting and singing, prayer and praise to Jah. The drums are not just instruments. They are voices of the Spirit. These gatherings can last for hours, even days, bringing communities together in unity, remembrance, and worship. 3. Ital living, daily discipline and diet. Daily life is guided by a principle called Ital, meaning natural, pure, and vital. Rastafarians strive to live in harmony with nature by eating fresh, unprocessed foods, avoiding chemicals and artificial additives, often choosing a plant-based diet. Narrator. But Ital is more than food. It is a mindset. A commitment to purity of body, mind, and spirit. 4. Connection with nature. Nature is sacred in Rastafarian life. Many followers spend time farming, meditating outdoors, living close to the land. Because to them, nature is not separate from God. It is a reflection of Jah's presence. 5. Ritual use of ganja, spiritual context. Another well-known practice is the ritual use of ganja. Within Rastafarianism, it is used during reasoning sessions and worship, not for escape, but for meditation and spiritual focus. It is believed to help open the mind, encourage reflection, and bring one closer to divine understanding. 6. Music as daily expression. Music is not just performance, it is part of everyday life. Whether through drumming, singing, chanting, Rastafarians use music to express faith, struggle, hope. It is both worship and storytelling. 7. Community and brotherhood. At its core, Rastafarian life is deeply communal. People gather, eat, worship, and support one another. There is a strong emphasis on unity, Respect. Shared identity. Narrator. Because the journey toward freedom was never meant to be walked alone. From these daily practices, these rhythms of life, something powerful emerged. A sound. A message. A movement that the entire world would soon hear. Reggae music. However, the movement is not without debate. Some question the divinity of Haile Selassie. Interpretations of scripture. The role of cannabis. Even within Christianity, many challenge Rastafarian theology. Yet, regardless of perspective, its historical and cultural impact is undeniable. From the pain of slavery to the crowning of a king. From the hills of Jamaica to the stages of the world. Rastafarianism is more than a movement. It is a voice for the oppressed. A search for identity. A cry for freedom. And perhaps most of all, a reminder that even in the darkest chapters of history, people will always rise, seeking truth, dignity, and divine connection. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment below, do you think Rastafarianism is more cultural, spiritual, or political? And stay tuned for more deep dives into history, faith, and global movements.